Um, the first thing is this 9/11 style commission that these brainiacs want to put together. Secondly, briefly, we're going to speak about the way this conflict between Israel and the Palestinians is being given to the American public and around the world. The way they're putting that propaganda out there does not support Israel being able to defend itself. And thirdly, and I think kinda, just me, I want to touch on racism against white people. Yes, that's right. You heard it. Racism against whitey. So let's start with January 6th. Let me start with this first. I made a call yesterday to my congressman. I call my congressman once, twice a week sometimes. I think this week it's been 3 times I called this guy and yelled at him. Donald Norcross is his name. Politics is his game. Hey. Um, yeah, I called him and asked whether or not he supports putting together this commission looking into the insurrection. Now, for those of you that are listening that may not be too familiar with what transpired on January 6th, what transpired was we had a whole lot of pissed off Americans that gathered in Washington, D.C. at our capital that your tax money is used to keep the lights on and everything else, and maintenance and so on and so forth. Boy, my nose is itching. Um, One person was killed, and that was on the Patriot side, unarmed, as a matter of fact. And yeah, people, as they say, they want to say, stormed the Capitol. People went inside the Capitol. It doesn't bother me. It really doesn't bother me. And the reason it doesn't bother me is, once again, we hold these truths to be self evident that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. They get their powers from you and I. You see? They're not kings and princes and queens. I mean, they may think they act like they're frickin' royalty. And excuse me, Mister Congressman. Congressman Doofus. But anyway, deriving their powers to govern. Now, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it. I don't see anything in here that states you've got to get permission from from those idiots on Capitol Hill. Although they want you to believe that, you know, that which Pelosi just thinks every word that comes out of her mouth, that's the law. But it's not. Um, what were we pissed off about on January 6th? Anybody remember? Anybody? Anybody? The guy in the back. Okay, he remembers. He remembers. Yeah, the presidential election is what happened. I mean, look, I'm, I've spoken to all kinds of people that will go to their grave believing this election was fair and above board. I am very sorry for them. I mean, looking at the video evidence with my own eyes and hearing about what went on in Philadelphia, where watchers weren't even allowed inside the building. Now, this is all fact. You could look it up. But it was fair and above board. And the talking hand puppets that are on TV, the propaganda ministry, they keep throwing out that garbage that it was fair and above board. And, just like Joseph Goebbels said, if you tell a lie and it's a huge lie, tell it over and over and over and over again. People will believe it eventually. And along with the dumbing down of society and along with the coronavirus thing, I'm not going to even go into that because it makes me insane. We had the right to be very upset. So like I said to the guy that's answers the phone for Donald Norcross, I said ask the congressman. I said let him know this is Joe Messina, and the guy that keeps promising to cook him any dinner he wants. Okay, I'm a trained chef, classically trained. Got my certificate and the hat and the coat and the whole 9 yards, right? um, he won't, he won't. I just want to make him a dinner, sit down, and us talk like two guys. Like, yo, Donald, what? I mean, come on, man. Do you really, really, really forget about being a representative? Just you, the non-politician. Do you really believe this was a fair election? Come on. But anyway, so we felt that the way it was stolen, to me, and especially looking at it now, I mean, you can see that, first of all, this administration it speaks for itself. We have the right to change the government when we feel it's tyrannical. We make the definition of what is tyrannical, not them. It's that frickin' simple. Okay, guys? Gear up, store ammunition, buy firearms. We may really need them. Okay? So, that was the thing about putting a bill together to investigate what they call the insurrection. You know what, guys? Take your commission and ram it where the sun doesn't shine. Okay, that's my feelings about the 9/11. That says it in itself. The 9/11 style commission. I mean, that 9/11, man, they gave us information we wouldn't have dreamed of, didn't they? Huh? No? Okay. So, now, I'm in Haddon Heights, right? Now, which is southern New Jersey. Now, which is by car. I mean, I've done it a number of times because I jam with a jazz band in South Philly. It takes me 15 minutes to the parking spot. Well, you got to find one, but normally it's a 15-minute ride. Now, suppose one day, within a few hours, people in Philadelphia start shooting missiles our way. Okay? And I'm not talking 1, 2, 3 missiles. I'm talking hundreds. Okay? Hundreds. Now, Israel. How many people watching this actually understand the development of that democratically run and elected representatives and all that democratic country? How many people actually understand why it exists? How many people know what the name Dachau, Buchenwald, Treblinka, Auschwitz, Mauthausen? Anybody know what those names represent? I'm waiting. I'm waiting. And it's that same guy in the back. See me afterwards. I'm going to give you a cigar. And, okay, very good. What they were killing factories. Okay? They bought, their product in by train, dropped it off at its appointed place, and then commenced with what they were there to do, which was to dispose of these humans. Okay. Once they were killed, they were gassed. But the gassing didn't really start until later on. I think 43. I think they actually started gassing. They were practicing with carbon monoxide and stuff like that, and then they were just shooting people, in large pits and dousing them with gasoline and this guy Heinrich Himmler had to, there's got to be a better way of doing this. Anyway, so he came up with the idea of these killing factories. Well, if never mind, if the numbers are right, if the if the numbers are right, it's about 2/3 of the Jews in Europe they killed. 6 million plus, and they decided, you know what? I'd rather go to a different country. I'd rather go to a place where I'm welcome. And, they went to Israel and they started building a country and a government and finally got it okayed. Then Britain left and the UN said fine and Truman, yes sir, Bob. I think it was Truman. So the country of Israel sprang up. Now, people that were there that were not Jews were kind of hacked off at that whole thing, you know? They're like, what gives you the frickin' right to come here and tell us what to do? Well, here's the reason, pal. You've been living here for how many thousands of years, and you haven't grown even mushrooms. Okay? Israel is now considered one of the prime agricultural countries in the world. How come they were able to develop that into frickin' farmland? You would read what Mark Twain said about Israel when he went there. Okay? So, yeah, the right people are there. They're not causing any problems, but everyone around them hates them. Okay? Goes Mr. Clock. Now, boom! Um, in the news media, well, the news media reflects the feelings of, let's say it, the globalists, and the globalists certainly are no friend of Israel. We all know that. Mr. Soros, I'm not going to say what I think of you. Mr. Soros is Jewish. I'm not going to judge why he did what he did, which he was. He ratted on other Jews when he lived Poland, I think, and had them sent up the chimney. I'm not going to judge why he did that. But how do you sleep at night, pal? I'm just saying, you know? Now, these people are getting bombarded with missiles. And this Mameluke in the White House, right? This Chadrul. Oh, let's put a ceasefire together, and actually, he was telling them, and as the news will put out there, that they were too harsh with those that were firing missiles into their country unprovoked. Unprovoked. It's like one day, a group of guys are out there and they're thinking, you know what, George? What's that, Henry? I don't know, man. I'm bored as hell. Why don't we fire some missiles into Israel? All right, Henry. And that's what they're acting like it was. And hey, I did the southern accent only because it's funny. I mean, look, let me show you something. I don't want southerners getting, you see that flag there? There we go. I don't, and Robert E. Lee in the back. I'm not making fun of southerners. But you guys do have a funny accent. Look, I worked in the South, and they thought I had a funny accent. I worked construction in Virginia Beach, Richmond, with those good old boys. Yeah, you're a breed apart, man. You guys are something else. But anyway, that's what they're acting like it was. And now if I'm a Jew living in Israel, I'm thinking, hey, ain't no way we're playing. You kill one of ours, we're taking 20 of yours. Until you get the idea that, like, hey, this is telling a little kid, the fire is hot. Don't put your hand in there. So Israel's saying, this is what you're going to get. Don't F with us. And nobody will get hurt. Go live your life. the way you want to live your life, leave us the hell alone. What part of that don't these people understand? Really? All right. There you go. That's what I had to say about Israel. Now, if I got everything here the way I think I do, Lucy, I think I do. Oh, you got the lyrics I was looking for last night. All right, anywho. Yeah, here it is. Here it is. Da, da, da. Miss America. Okay. It's time to go out there and beat the living crap out of white people. I'm not going to apologize for sounding like that. Now, just to give you an idea where I'm coming from, I know I shouldn't be scratching my back like this, but I come from a place growing up. I grew up with Italian people. My dad came here after the war from Sicily. And growing up in South Philadelphia in the 50s, 60s, it was very segregated, you know? And you grow up with the attitudes, learning from the grown ups, those attitudes, and you take them with you for a while until you figure things out for yourself. And you say, you know what, this just ain't right, man. You know, treat people like Martin Luther King said. I'm going to treat you, you know, if you're a good guy, I'm going to like you, okay? If you're an asshole, get the hell away from me. I don't care what color you are. I don't care if you're gay, straight, trans. I mean, look, if you're trans, at least look good, okay? I mean, I've seen some trans people like with freaking 5 o'clock shot. You're not fooling anybody, and you're ugly. So that's how I feel about that. So for a while there in high school, I grew up in the time. I was fortunate enough. People in Washington back then decided, you know what, George, what's that, Henry? Here'd go George and Henry again. Well, we got schools here in this country that just don't have enough black people in them. Well, George, what are we going to do about that? Well, I was talking to this feller in Capitol Hill. And what he says is, we ought to get a bunch of buses and put a bunch of black kids on them and ship them into white neighborhoods and put them into white schools. Now, okay, if anybody has ever been to South Philadelphia, it's to say blue collar is an understatement, okay? The Italian kids, we had a particular I don't take any shit from anybody attitude. Now, you put that with being somewhat racist, and then you bring all these kids from the outside there. What the hell did these people think was going to happen? I mean, kids died in my frickin' high school over this stuff. Like Ronald Reagan said, the scariest words anybody could hear is, I'm from the government and I'm here to help you. Honest to God, he was right. But anyway, so that's where I'm coming from with this whole story. Not story, but this whole train of thinking. Okay, is that right now there's a war against white people, and I know you know that. Okay, look at that clown in Chicago, Lori Sugarfoot, Lightfoot, whatever the hell her name is. Man, she is ugly. She giving Maxine a run for her money. Woman, whoa, ho! I'm telling you. So I've got this little editorial here. It comes from the Minnesota Times. You see, Southern people, I can speak like that too. Minnesota. Anyway, Balcom, if you're watching this, no offense. Anyway, Balcom, I knew Balcom in the army. He was from Minnesota, but he didn't speak like that anyway. Okay, here we go. Reverse racism. The editorial is, can white people experience racism? Think of that. Can white people experience racism? Turn it around. Can black people be racist toward white? Right? Okay. This will answer that. This editorial was written as a follow-up to a previous editorial board piece. Whatever the hell that means. I don't know. Reverse racism is what a white person may use to describe a belief that any social or economic gains by black people somehow undermine the white experience. That by refusing to remain dormant while racial injustice still defines our country, black people's decision not to comply with those racially exploitive conventions is the same as the racism exercised by white people for hundreds of years. Any group of people can experience racial prejudice or discrimination. Here's the interesting part, and then I'll explain it to you. However, racism refers to that. I lost my spot. Racism. So not everyone can experience. Okay. However, racism refers to that prejudice in addition to the socialized power structures at play. Socialized power structures. They're insinuating that because you were born white, along with your privilege, as a matter of fact, you are now the one that holds power. You see, this is a Marxist philosophy. This is a Marxist way of taking a social situation, which is racism, and turning it into economics and politics. Really, that's what this is. Because the theory is black people cannot be racist because they don't have power. They don't have the power over you. You see, we have had the power over them. Now, somebody's thinking that by doing this and having the news harp on it every frickin' night, and the nitwit in the in the White House, speak about it, they think this is going to bring the races together? Come on, as Joe would say. Come on, man. I mean, after all, he beat Corn Pop's. We got a president that beat the crap out of poor Corn Pop. Or was it Rice Krispie? I forgot. I mean, that's some funny crap. And they rubbed the hair on my legs. Ay, this guy. You could go to my Facebook page, and I got the best of Joe Biden on there. It's worth seeing. I used to have the best of that nitwit on CNN, the Black Reverend Al Sharpton. That, I don't know if I took it off or not. It might still be on there. That's hysterical. So anyway, getting back to beating the crap out of Whitey, that's what's going on. You see, and I guess the question is why? Why do they want us so divided? Anybody? Anybody? Da 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 da. Okay, it's the guy in the back again. He really wants that cigar real bad. The reason is as long as you are preoccupied with this crap, like I used to be, and I like literally, I'm being dead serious as a freaking heart attack. I like came very, very close to having a breakdown. I'm, you know, I'm not even kidding you. I just had to stop listening to the freaking news. Um, I do these once in a while now, and it seems to help. I do some research. I'm retiring. I'm reading all my books, and trying to keep my sanity until the Lord comes back and takes me home. Please, it sucks down here. I'm not even kidding, man. Living with people like Nancy Pelosi, Joe Biden, that hyena vice president we got, uh, Maxine. Oh, it's torturous. Look, I'm not saying I want to kill myself or anything. Please don't think that. Just you know, being a Christian, I'm waiting. I'm really waiting on the Lord to come back. As a thief in the night, right? It could be bam, and we're going. We are out of here, baby. No more of this crap. But I gotta wear a mask. Don't wear a mask. Get a vaccine. Don't get a vaccine. We're gonna be forced to get a vaccine. I'm not gonna get you a vaccine. I don't want to hear about a vaccine. I'm not going shopping for the vaccine. Vaccine schmaxine. Okay. So there we have it. Um, Hopefully you followed that and it made some kind of sense. But they are pitting us against one another because, well, first of all, I think it was the Romans that figured that one out first, divide and conquer, right? They got us fighting one another and preoccupied with thinking about all this racial nonsense to where we don't really see what's going on behind the curtain. And behind the curtain, what is going on is a world government will be coming to a theater near you soon. You will be giving up your sovereignty and all like that. So that's what's going on with that. So, anywho, I got my oven preheating. I'm making my own pizza tonight. And I'm going to leave it at that. All right, folks? Look me up. I'll be doing another one of these fairly soon, I hope. Anyway, this was kind of fun. Take care.